Sorry, the live feed is just taking a little while to do its thing. And it didn't work. Let's try again. All right, it seems like we are ready to go. Do we have everyone ready?
Good.
Chairman, is he there? Ready to
Chairman
go?
is here.
Excellent. All right, I will get us started then. The November 19, 2020 meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission is about to be convened. As a precautionary measure to reduce the spread of coronavirus, all town buildings are closed to the public. Therefore, this meeting will be held by remote participation. My name is Kelly Grant, and I will be moderating participation for this meeting. I will now turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Kelly. My name is Ed Hoops. I'm the chairman of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission. I will begin by taking a roll call for quorum. Ed Hoops is here. Tom Durkin.
Here.
Patricia Mulhern.
Here.
Ellie Lawrence.
Here.
Rick Bishop.
Present.
Paul Huggins.
Here.
David Bernstein.
Here.
With a quorum present, I will now call the meeting to order. I will ask that the moderator explain how remote participation works.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings as provided for in the order. Persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by watching via this virtual meeting or the live feed on the Town of Yarmouth YouTube channel. You may also listen to the meeting by dialing into the number provided on the notice of meeting. We will also post a recording of the meeting on the Town of Yarmouth website as soon as we are able. Please be patient while we work to overcome any technological challenges with the virtual meeting. To reduce confusion during the meeting, all participants are muted by the moderator. As participants are called upon to speak, they will be unmuted. Applicants can use the raise hand button or press *9 on their phone to identify themselves to the chair. The meeting host will then unmute applicants when they are called upon to speak. During the portion of a hearing designated for public comment, the chair or moderator will ask who in the audience has any public comments or questions. Members of the public attending virtually will be able to make comments using the raise hand button within the virtual meeting. If you are dialed into the phone number provided, you can press *9 on your phone to indicate that you would like to comment. Please wait for the chairman to recognize you before speaking. Members of the public who wish to provide comment are asked to identify themselves by first and last name and affiliation for the public record and then provide their comment. Prior to concluding opportunities for discussion, comment, or question, the chair will ask a final time if anyone wishes to speak on the matter. All votes must be roll call votes. After a motion is made and there is a second, the chair will ask the moderator to take the roll call vote, and the moderator will report the roll call vote. All motions, decisions, documents, and letters will be verbally read into the record. If it appears the meeting cannot or should not proceed, then the moderator will recommend that the chair request to continue the hearing to a later date and time or until public meetings can resume normally. I will now hand the meeting back to the chair.
Thank you, Kelly. We'll get right into the agenda. First up on the agenda is a request for determination of applicability. Town of Yarmouth, Frant Doris Lane, 136.55, town-owned parcel, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Proposed invasive species management for Phragmites within a coastal beach. I believe Miss Grant is here for that.
Indeed. So this is a parcel that's owned by the town. It's designated as municipal. It's not a conservation parcel, but it does fall within conservation jurisdiction. And it's adjacent to the property 35 Outdoors Lane, where we've recently issued permitting for invasives management and other restoration work. The company Crawford Land Management are carrying out the Phragmites management on the adjacent property, and I discussed with them the opportunity to continue that work onto this town parcel in order to get rid of the entire population of frag in this area, so that would stop it spreading back onto the adjacent parcel. And they agreed to include that in the work when they're doing it on the adjacent property at no charge to the town. So grateful for that, and just asked that I go through the permitting process to include that work within the work that they're doing. So presenting this request for determination of applicability for that area. So it's the area that's highlighted in green on the plan here. It's a fairly minimal area, just the tail end of the population that's on the adjacent property. And there's a couple of photos that show this is looking from 35 Outdoors towards the town parcel. So you can see it's fairly dense through this area. And then this image is taken during the summer when some local residents took it upon themselves to come down and solve the problem themselves and cut a lot of the frag down. So obviously that's going to cause a problem with it'll just grow back thicker and better than it was. So it's a good opportunity to tackle it in that respect as well, so that people have better access without the need to cut. The hope is that there is salt marsh and other vegetation along the stretch, and the hope is that that vegetation will be able to come back once the frag is under control. We will just need to work with the residents in the area to try and direct traffic a little so it's not walking directly across this area, to allow that vegetation to get established. And there has been some issues with boat storage in the area as well. So we'd want working to try and encourage people to store their boats in a more upland location. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, before we forget, Kelly, if you would, I know you already have, but just extend to Crawford Land Management our sincere thanks for doing this work as well. We appreciate it.
Will do.
Any questions from the commissioners? Not anybody in the audience have any comments or questions about this project? All right, final discussion along the commission. If not, may I have a motion for a -2?
I make a motion -2 in regards to the Phragmites. And
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
Doris Lane.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second, Ellie.
Okay, thank you, Ellie. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops. Oops.
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Next motion or next order is another request for determination of applicability for Erica C. Wright, 23 Salt Meadow Road, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Proposed removal of existing swimming pool and construction of a larger pool within the buffer zone to a coastal bank and salt marsh, and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. And I believe Tim Kelly, are you there? I see him.
Allowed him to speak, so he should be able to unmute his hand and go ahead.
I know he, oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay. How are you tonight?
Very good.
There you go. There you go. Here. First, this is my first Zoom meeting here, so bear with me.
Okay. So if you would just state your name for the record, and then just make your presentation, and then we'll go ahead and ask questions.
Okay, my name is Timothy Kelly. I'm the owner of Precision Pools and Patios, and we are proposing to remove an existing swimming pool and some of the decking around it to make room for a newer and slightly larger swimming pool, and pretty much the same footprint of what is existing on the property already. We're going to expand the steps that are going to be coming down to the lower off the deck into the yard. Will be an expansion in that area. That's pretty much all the expansion that will be involved. The owner of the property, she is concerned with the way the pool is right now. She's concerned that she may have some of her guests or children that may jump off the second story balcony into the existing pool. So the reason for doing this is to get the pool a little bit away from the house and the balcony, so that won't happen. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Tim?
Nope.
No, Kelly, any questions?
Nope, I have nothing.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions or comments or concerns with this project? Raise your hand digitally if you do.
I don't see
I
any hands raised.
I see none. So back to any further discussion among the commission. If not, may I have a motion for a -2 and a -3?
So moved, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Is there a second?
Second, David.
Thank you, David. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kelly. Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right, next order of business is a notice of intent for Greg Katsoulis for 154 Wood Road, Yarmouth, Massachusetts, and after the fact filing for regrading and vegetation removal, proposed access path and deck extension within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and pond. And Jason Ellis is the representative.
I can see the property owner. Oh, I see a hand raised. I will.
Okay,
Okay, I have allowed the phone number ending 2374 to speak.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
Jason Ellis. Can you hear me?
yes, okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hi, so this is Jason Ellis of JC Ellis Design Company, representing Greg Katsoulis, 154 Wood Road. So this is an after the fact filing. There was some tree removal from the tornado damage and also some regrading that occurred on the western edge of the property adjacent to the bordering vegetative wetland that needs to be mitigated. So we're proposing to place some jute mat on the slope that exists adjacent to the wetland, and also proposing some plantings on the top of that slope on the flat area on the top. Some northern bayberry and some low bush blueberry, 10 of each, just to kind of delineate the top of that embankment there. And then the rest of the disturbed area there would be covered in a conservation grass seed mix to stabilize the area and vegetate the bare soil. We're also proposing a set of stone steps that would go down that embankment up close to the house. Just so the homeowner doesn't have to traverse the hill and they can walk safely up and down that slope up to the parking area that's up in the lawn area there. And then we're also proposing to remove, there's a set of concrete steps that exists on the east side of the property. We're looking to remove those concrete steps and then extend the deck around that corner of the house out to the paved driveway area. And there's a set of steps there too. Down to grade level. So I guess that's where we can start. If you have any questions, be happy to try to go through this with you.
Okay, so Kelly, we've already issued the enforcement order for this, right? And
No,
the order asked that that they do a restoration plan for this.
so where we had got to was that a violation notice had been issued with a cease and desist, addition of stabilization measures, and that plans be submitted to the commission. But rather than just stopping at that point, they've gone ahead and filed the notice of intent, after the fact notice of intent, to permit the work that took place. So at this point, there isn't an enforcement order. It's just at the violation notice.
Okay, so so this plan then represents what their version of a restoration plan then, is that right, Mr. Ellis?
Correct.
Okay, so I've got an issue with this right off the bat then. I don't think we should be doing a restoration plan under a notice of intent. If it's that this was clearly, I think we should go the other route and issue the enforcement order and have them do the restoration planting plan through the order. That's my first question about that one. The second thing is I don't see that this is really all you're really doing is asking for what has already been done. You're not really removing any of the fill or anything else. Is that right?
We're not proposing to change any of the grades or remove any fill. I'm honestly not sure how much fill was put in there. But if that's something that we need to determine and something that we need to do, then we just need your direction on that as to what you expect the homeowner to do here. So.
Okay, so I think that would also be another thing. I'm making these are just my opinions, and we can let the rest of the commission have their say on this as well. But I would include that as part of of a restoration plan under enforcement rather than under the notice of intent. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll go to questions from the commissioners at this point. No questions?
If I may, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
Ellie?
So you put fill on there, but that's part of your restoration, as he said. I'm kind of concerned about that because you just filled in the area and now you're going to plant it. And that was a substantial amount. If I was out on site, that it was 1.5 feet in places deep. So that's sort of adding to it, not restoring it. That's just my thought.
Okay. Anything else, Ellie?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any other commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. I'm having a hard time understanding exactly what the profile of that part of the property was before, and be inclined to, if we had a way of determining that, ask them to go back to that configuration. Just not that it's our purview, but I'm just interested that the paved driveway doesn't appear to be on their property, and not sure how that's will affect their overall plan.
Okay, I'm looking. I was trying to read through Kelly's note. Well, is there any other questions among the commission first? If not, I'll go over to Kelly and ask her for her comments.
Yeah, so the original intention, as it was stated in the violation notice, was that a plan be provided that showed the resource areas, showed the area of disturbance and the extent of the disturbance. So, and then that would have come to you to determine what would need to be included in a restoration plan under an enforcement order, and then what would be included in a notice of intent for items that could be permitted. But I think the intention of the property owner was to retain the fill and keep what was done. So that's why I think they filed the after the fact notice of intent. So I guess now we have a need to, I guess, advise the things that are not permittable under this notice of intent, and then they could be transferred to a restoration plan within an enforcement order. And then you could look at the other items that haven't taken place or the things that are acceptable that could be permitted under this notice of intent. I don't know if you want to do it that way, or the issues that I have, the fill that has been added is very close to the wetland resource area and not something that typically would have been approved by the commission if it had come to us for permitting before it was done. So my suggestion would be that that fill be removed. As Ellie said, it is about 1.5 feet deep, and at its, what we found is its deepest point, and then tapers back to about 5 inches further landward. And then that area should be restabilized and revegetated. And then we would need to also look at the proposed work for the deck extension on the other side of the house. That work falls within the, well, I don't think it's exactly shown, but that work falls within the setback. So it would require a variance to be approved to keep that deck to permit that deck extension on the other side of the house. And then the other item is the, I guess there's another 2 items. The bordering vegetated wetland has been delineated on this plan, and it shows that that area is maintained as a cleared area. So my recommendation would be that that area be required to be allowed to naturally regrow to a bordering vegetated wetland. Cutting within a vegetated wetland is an alteration if it's inhibiting the growth of and productivity of the plant. So that area should remain natural. Having said that, that does cut off a large area of the backyard of the property. So on that basis, if that area was to, that they were agreeable to leaving that area to come back naturally under this order of conditions, then I could, from my point of view, I could see grounds for a variance for the deck expansion, because it would provide them with some more outdoor livable space that that they're losing in the backyard. But I do suggest that some of the items that are that the commission wants to see in terms of restoration be taken out of this notice and addressed in an enforcement order restoration plan. Oh, and then the last thing, sorry, was there's landscaping debris that has been dumped on the bank. And I think maybe it crosses over onto the town property down in this area down here. I think I have an image of up in the corner here, just to show that debris would need to be removed. This plan shows the plan that was originally submitted with the application, which showed that they were going to have a no-mow area to extend the area of the bordering vegetated wetland, but that has since been replaced with the more recent plan, which is this one here, which just shows the area being left in a cleared state.
All right, so this, I'm not even looking at the right plan then.
So
Yeah.
the one that you have in hard copy is this original plan, which shows that no mow area.
Right.
So I then they just sent through an update to that plan this week, which I emailed out, and I'm showing on the screen here, which shows that no mow area has been removed and a set of steps have been placed here.
Kelly, can you point out the set of steps again?
Just here, can you see my cursor? On
Oh, okay, yeah, now I see it. That's new, that's not in the other, the
yeah,
set you set up.
yeah, I think that's not
Okay.
in the original.
Thank you.
To remove the fill, those probably won't be necessary.
Yeah, so I think, so as this plan stands then, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, there's still the path coming down to the pond, that's still there, and we're leaving the rest of the BVW, the rest of the, anything to the southeast of the wetland line is going to be left to revegetate naturally, is that right?
No, I think the intention is to keep clearing that area. Maybe the representative could clarify that, but I think they're looking at maintaining that cleared area.
The BVW?
That's correct.
Yep.
All right, I got a problem with that. I mean, if that's that's a resource area. I don't see that as being something that you should be mowing and maintaining. Otherwise, what do you need the path for then?
The path that path is in an area which hasn't been cleared. So you can see
But
the
all-
edge of
Where it
cleared
says
area.
edge of cleared area. Okay, I see it. Okay. Yeah, I can't support allowing that to continue like that. They need to stop all of the cutting in the BVW itself. And I thought that's the concept behind giving the variance on the steps and proposed deck and stairs.
Yeah, so
So-
I think one suggestion could be that the commission could take a vote on this notice of intent purely for the work that has not yet been completed in terms of the proposed deck and stairs, with the condition that there be no further cutting of the bordering vegetated wetland, and then an enforcement order would need to be issued to address the area of fill, and that would need to be removed from. It's hard to address one after the enforcement order after a notice of intent. It usually come the other way around.
So this notice of intent would only be for the proposed deck and stairs on the southeast side of the house, and for the proposed, let's say 6-foot wide access path. Right, those are the only two
That's
things
true.
that we would be approving under this notice.
If that's what the commission would like to, how they'd like to
They would
proceed.
also have to, they would have to provide a revised plan to that effect, and they would have to get rid of the edge of cleared area and make a note that says that the bordering vegetative wetland will be left untouched, undisturbed.
Mhm.
And then get rid of all the, all the things in terms of the planting and fill and everything, and just that's what that's going to be a little bit more difficult to
Yeah,
flesh
so-
out there, but
Yeah, it's definitely, you couldn't really include that under a notice of intent, so I think you would have to issue a separate enforcement order for that.
right. That makes
If I
sense.
might, I just had a question
Mr.
about the enforcement order. If that would be, would you file that under an additional order, notice of intent, or would that, how
No,
would we
no.
go about the mitigating that?
So usually an enforcement order would be issued requiring a restoration plan, and the enforcement order would detail what's required to be in that restoration plan, and then that restoration plan would be provided to the commission to approve, and then would become an addendum to the enforcement order. So the work would be carried out under the enforcement order. So it wouldn't be included in the notice of intent.
Okay. I just didn't know if that would need an additional notice of intent to do the work to mitigate that, so.
No.
Okay, so does that make sense to the commission then to receive a revised plan
Yes.
that essentially
So-
removes everything else and only includes the path, the proposed deck and stairs, and a note that says the BVW area will be left undisturbed?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, do they need a 6-foot wide path? Can we make it 4? Because they are taking more, they're going to be clearing that land again.
That was
to-
going to
for
be my
that
next my next question, Ellie. Thank you. I would say we should go with a 4-foot path. That would be my own personal preference. I'll say the commission.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, so that we would want to move that then, Mr. Ellis, we want to make sure that you reduce the size of the proposed path, access path, to 4 feet.
Okay.
Okay,
So just procedurally, would we look at a continuation of this hearing for the notice of intent with an updated plan to be provided just for those items, and then also on the
Okay.
same next agenda, an enforcement order agenda item, whereas a restoration plan would be, well, can we advise at this point what should be on the restoration plan so that we don't have to have two separate hearings for that? And they can both be presented at the same time? Or at the same meeting, I mean.
Yeah, I think we can, I think we could do it that way if you're comfortable getting the enforcement order out that quickly.
Yeah, so that would just be for removal of fill and stabilization of the site of that area
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
with matting and plants, and then
Have some sort of
The-
restoration planting.
Okay.
and then both the notice of intent and the restoration plan should state that the BVW area would remain to naturalize.
Right. And
Okay.
I think you should be providing mitigation. You could, I think you need to provide mitigation for the proposed steps and deck. And I would be willing to transfer that mitigation over to the restoration area for the under enforcement, if that makes sense to you, Kelly.
So just to include the square footage of the proposed deck and stairs as mitigation in the restoration area.
Yeah, because I mean, if we do it
There's no other
any
space,
other
yeah.
way, there's no place for them to put any other mitigation planting. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're just looking for like a one-to-one restoration?
how many feet is that, Kelly? It's 35 feet.
That line that you can see is the 50 foot. The 35 foot's not shown on the plan. So I think the majority of it was in the 35 foot.
So just the area that's within the 35 foot, whatever that area is, just a one-to-one mitigation for that.
Yeah, anything within the 35 foot.
Okay.
This is Ellie again.
Yeah.
Kelly did mention about the offset variance that they would need for the property line for the stairs. I know that's not on our purview, but maybe we should suggest to them to look into that further before they present us the new plans.
I mean, they require a variance to your regulations because it's within the 35 foot. I think they're actually resolving property line encroachment by removing those concrete stairs and bringing the deck in closer to the house. So I mean, they may want to check how that does fit. You're right with zoning, but my
The architect-
reference to
the
the
arch-
variance was because of the 35 foot setback requirement.
Thank you, Kelly.
Actually, the architect is actually putting together an application with zoning for that. They were just wanted to get your approval first before they went to zoning. So,
Okay.
before they knew what they could do.
So this is the plan that you're presenting to zoning.
If
For the
you
steps.
folks were to approve it, yes. Yeah. Steps in the deck. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion from the commission? Is there anybody in the audience who has any comments or questions? Raise your hand digitally if you do. Seeing none. Any further discussion among the commission?
This is Pat. Maybe-
Jason, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Pat, was that Pat?
Yeah, I just was saying, maybe to put in the removal of the landscaping debris into the restoration plan.
Okay, yeah, so add that to as a note to the restoration plan then as well.
Okay.
Okay, Jason, can you get this turned around in 2 weeks or do you need more time?
Yep.
Do you need a month?
Nope. 2 weeks is fine.
Okay, so Kelly, that would be what date?
December 3rd is the meeting.
December 3rd. Okay, so
So we would need to have it with us by Thanksgiving.
So by
that's a
Wednesday?
week from today.
Wednesday would be ideal. I think I'll probably, we go for Wednesday because we'll be closed on Friday as well.
Okay.
That's still meet with your time frame there, Jason?
I think we can do that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if not, just, you let us know and we'll put you on to the next one then.
Okay, very good.
Well, actually, yeah, well, we need to go ahead. So if there's no further discussion among the commission, then do I have a motion to continue this notice hearing to December 3rd and to issue an enforcement order as discussed, also to be heard on December 3rd.
So moved.
Thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
Okay. Tom,
I heard, Tom, thank you. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see, next order of business is another notice of intent for Amy McIsaac, 24 Charles Street, Yarmouth, Massachusetts, proposed addition, deck, and relocated septic system within the buffer zone to a coastal bank. And I think it says Hannah, but I think it's Kieran. Is that Kieran here? Okay,
Yes.
Kieran, I think,
Should be able to unmute now.
yeah, there you go.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kieran.
I'm sorry, I've got an echo here. I'm trying to.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback, Kieran.
Okay. I'm going to hang up my phone and see if that works. Okay, Mr. Chairman, can you still hear me?
I would still hear you. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kieran.
Okay, hopefully the static is gone. This property at number 24 Charles Street, we are proposing some improvements to the property on the Bass River side. We're proposing a 6x17 addition in an area that's already an existing deck. And we are proposing a 8x32 deck over an existing patio area. The existing septic system is within the coastal bank, and we are not proposing to dig that out and remove it. We're proposing to pump it out and then fill it with sand. And then we will place a new septic system well outside of the 100-foot buffer, basically putting in 2 septic tanks here, one the septic tank and one being a pump chamber that would pump the effluent up and well away from the Bass River. The project is pretty much as you see it on the plan. You'll see the shaded areas where the addition is, and then the deck area is over that patio at the rear of the water side of the existing dwelling. Other than that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Kieran. Well, I've got some issues. I'm going to turn it over to the commission first and let them, if they have any questions about the project, and then I'll come back to myself. So, commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, this is Ellie.
Okay, Ellen.
I was out on the site looking at it at a close to a king tide, and I think we need to have a wetland delineation made on that because a lot of it was swamped out with the tide. So I think it would behoove us to get that delineation put on the plan.
Yeah, I think we certainly have the salt marsh delineation, we have dune delineation, but and this is this is an issue with a lot of the properties that are along this stretch of the river. It seems as though, to me, as though there's been an awful lot of maintaining of a lawn, if you call it that, into much closer into a resource area than what is typically there. I mean, when I was out on, was it a Tuesday morning, I was seeing certain wetland plants in what is termed the yard, the lawn, but it was certainly salt marsh vegetation. It looked like salt marsh vegetation to me, and things like sea lavender and what I suspect is marsh elder as part of the high marsh. And I also was seeing a lot of fiddler crab burrows in the existing lawn. So I think we need to get a little bit better clarification from you, Kieran, in terms of how the delineation was done. I'd feel more comfortable with that, so we can assure everybody where the delineation lies, since we are going to, whatever plan we approve with this, we're essentially approving the delineation of the wetland resource areas that are on the plan. So for 3 years. So I think we need to spend a little bit more time to clarify exactly how those delineations were done, and to look at the plant species that were recorded as part of that delineation. That was my big comment too. So thank you for bringing it up, Ellie, but I'll turn that over to Kieran for his comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ellie. What I had done out here was I had Matt Creighton, who is a wetland scientist, go out and delineate the site. And as you may know, Matt has been in front of this commission dealing with lawns that are very close to the wetlands and the maintenance of lawns on a few occasions now. So he and I had discussed that specifically before he went out here, and he had done auger holes and he had done the tests out here. And in his mind, he had limited the, he had identified where the resources were, and that's what we had located. If you need further confirmation right now, he is available. I could have him call in if that's something you would like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to, I mean, at this point, I'd feel more comfortable. I don't like to do this, but given the importance of getting the delineation 100% right, I think I would personally like to maybe meet out on site with Matt.
Okay.
So we can go through, he could bring any data sheets that he's done or anything like that, and we could go through it a little bit on a step-by-step basis. That would make me feel much more comfortable in the delineation. And it may very well be, you may end up, being 100% right. And, if that's the case, then we've lost 2 weeks, and that's all we've lost. But, I would feel more comfortable having an on-site with that and taking a look to see what's out there.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I think that we can definitely agree with coordinating that between Matt and yourself in the next couple of weeks. As that area is so far away from the work that is being proposed, could we discuss the work that's being proposed? And if there's any issue with that, then I can respond to that as well.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't know. Do the commissioners have any questions about the specific work that's being done?
I think the net benefits of moving the septic is beyond the 100-foot buffer is excellent. Is for the health of the Bass River.
Anything else there, folks?
I agree with Rick.
Okay, Kelly, do you have any comments?
I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware that the extension, the addition over the existing deck is within the 35-foot buffer to the coastal bank. It is within deck, which is existing footprint, but it's just a change from an accessory structure to main structure. And then there is deck proposed over the existing patio within the 35-foot setback also, which is again existing footprint. So I guess technically by the regulations, it's subject to a variance, but it's slightly different because it's an existing footprint. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. And then just going back, just to clarify with the delineation, I think it would be useful to actually have you know, an inventory of the plants that are found and to actually show, I think the regulations require you to show on the plan how the delineation was done. So to show that spring high tide line on the plan, and then the vegetation present in those areas, just to have that documented as well, which can result from the site visit that we do as well. So.
Mr. Chairman, I had one more question I forgot to ask.
Okay,
Karen, could you tell me, are they planning to remove the patio and then put the deck over that that same space?
I don't believe so. I think the patio is going to remain, and it will just be a hole dug basically for the sonotubes that will support the upper level deck, because that patio is a walkout and the deck is upper level.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly, did you have anything else with that, or?
I'm just checking my notes. I think that is all. And we do need a DEP file number for this project anyway, so we do.
Okay, so that will presumably all be taken care of then next time around anyhow. So. Yeah, I don't have an issue with the addition over the existing deck. It's there already, and it's not really expanding anything. So I'm fine with that.
Can we, Mr. Chairman, can we add the stipulation of it can't be enclosed at any time?
We can certainly do that as a part of the orders when we get ready to craft the orders.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, is there any day that's better for you to meet on site?
I'm sorry, Karen, you cut out on me.
Is there any day that's better for you to meet on site with Matt? I know Mondays are generally a good day for him.
How's next Thursday? Okay. How's next Friday?
BSC as a company is closed on Friday. So I'm not
okay.
sure.
I mean, we can do it the week after. I mean, I don't have an issue. I can carve out some time in the week after if that's better.
The week after would be better, just before the meeting. Yes, I will coordinate with him.
Okay. I mean, Kelly, I presume you'd like to go along with that one as well, right?
Yes, and in theory, taking vacation next week, so the following week would work better for me.
Okay, then we should not do it during Kelly's vacation then.
Mr. Chairman, can we all know what the date and time is? So those of us who want to attend may.
Yeah, we can. Once we figure that one out, we will send something out to the board.
Be good.
Okay. If anything else, then on that.
Mr. Chairman, do you need me to ask for a continuance for 2 weeks?
So yeah, so we'll aim for the 2 weeks then, if that's sounds good to you, Karen.
Yes, please.
Okay, so that's December 3rd. That's good with you. That works with you, Kelly?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And you're clear. I mean, it seems like everybody else is on board with everything else you're proposing as far as the actual work goes. Karen, you're all set with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So then if I could get a motion to continue this hearing until December 3rd, and we will schedule a time. You want to just go through Kelly to schedule the time for a meeting with you and Matt, okay?
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved, David.
All right, thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rick. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I'll see you soon.
You will, I'm up next.
Oh, okay. I'll see you sooner than I thought then. All right, so next order of business is another notice of intent for Douglas Ducote, 15 Shore Road, Yarmouth, Massachusetts, proposed maintenance repairs of a stone riprap revetment wall and replacement of existing handrail within a coastal bank.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group, representing Mr. Ducote for this project at 15 Shore Road. As you can see from the photograph on the screen, there are some gaps in the existing stone revetment, and the concrete pad that is on top is beginning to fail. We are proposing nothing other than fixing what's there. For the stone wall itself, we're looking to chink the rocks, I believe is the correct term, where we'll just be putting smaller rocks in to fill these gaps and holes. And then the concrete pad that's on top, we will just be removing that and then replacing it in the same location at the same elevation in kind. And then you can see in this photograph right in the middle, there are steps there. The steps are slippy and you can't see really by the photograph, but there used to be a metal handrail right down into the water here. And we're just looking to replace that in the same location that it was before. Other than that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, great. Thank you, Karen. Any questions from the board?
Nope.
All right, Kelly, any comments, questions?
We heard back from DMF and they provided some conditions to be included, just to not have any of the material stored in the intertidal area. Reconstruction should be limited to the existing footprint and that work should be completed from the upland as much as practicable. And then just in addition to that, Kieran, is there a size range for the stone that's going to be used for the chinking?
I believe it to be within 1 foot to 2 feet diameter, somewhere in that. It depends on, there are a few bigger holes, but the majority are smaller, even maybe less than you can see how there's a couple of stones in the forefront here that are small. Stones like that will just fit in around the existing wall and fill all those gaps where possible.
Okay, so I just include the condition that the chinking shall just be done to the extent needed for to get the structural stability of the revetment. That's the only other comment, except that we don't have a file number.
Okay, and that would also, the chink stone would also be kept up top rather than down below, for storage and things. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There was no plan to do anything from the water side or store.
Doing everything top. Okay.
I
All
have a
right,
question, Mr. Chairman.
David?
David?
Paul? Well, I saw
Right.
Paul's hand up first, so Paul, go
No
ahead.
problem.
Yeah, no, I just was wondering when this work is done, the what's there isn't removed. It's just that the openings or the voids are filled with smaller stone. Is that correct?
Kind of half and half. The stone that you see will be left in its current location and that will be filled in with the chinking.
Yep.
The concrete pad that you can just see to the top right of the photograph,
Yes.
that will have to be removed because there are voids and holes underneath that. So that would have to be filled in and then the concrete wall gets put back in that area.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, David?
I think you answered my question, but that concrete wall as it is now is only about half of that area. So what you're doing is you're going to take up the existing concrete wall and put concrete all the way from one end to the other. Am I right?
Actually, no, the current concrete runs all the way. It's just not visible really that much in the forefront, but it does run from one end to the other end right now.
Okay, because I'm looking at a picture I took and I can't see the concrete. I see about half, and then after that looks like it's all stone. So you're saying underneath that stone is More concrete?
I believe there's concrete running the whole way. It's been a while since I've been on site, but I just remember walking the entire length and having some idea. I have photographs myself, so let me just have a quick look.
So I took photographs from going both ways, and it doesn't look like concrete. I'm not saying you shouldn't put it down. I'm just asking about it. That's all.
I think isn't it the small stone set in concrete? Might look like it's stone.
It
I have
might,
some photos from a previous site visit, and it looks like kind of pebbles, but it's actually
Yeah.
set in concrete,
okay.
and that extends the entire way along.
Yeah,
And
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I do have a photograph here that does show that it's pebbles set in concrete, so it doesn't look necessarily like regular concrete slab, but it is a concrete base that runs all the way to the end.
Thank you.
Okay, you're all set. Any further discussion from the commission?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just one point. My experience with chinking repair is that typically the size of the stones are much smaller, so they're able to fill in all the gaps and kind of hold the larger stones together. So the idea of 1 to 2 foot stones doesn't really work for filling in the smaller gaps, and it doesn't. And just a point of information for the commissioners.
I'm sorry if I led you to believe that there will be 1 to 2 foot stones, but there will also be multiple smaller stones going in around those. I was just talking about the bigger ones, but the majority of these stones will be smaller, as Mr. Bishop implied.
Perfect, thank you.
It's just filling the bigger voids.
So yeah, the guidelines for repair of a revetment actually really don't want you to fill all of the voids, because those are what break up wave energy and allow for habitat. So it really is, we're only looking at them to fill the voids to the extent required to maintain the stability of the structure.
Thank you, Administrator Grant.
No problem.
All right, any further discussion among the board? Is there anybody in the audience who have any questions on this matter? Raise your hand digitally if you do. I see none. Then back to the commission, if there's no further discussion among the commission, do I have a motion to continue this to December 3rd? And we will not be doing any further. This is solely for waiting for the DEP file number. So we will not be taking any further comment or proposals for this project. It's just solely for the issuance of the order and waiting on the file number.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
Tom,
Thank you, Tom. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you, Kelly. Talk to you soon.
All right, next order of business is a continued notice of intent from November 5th, 2020 for Paul and Linda McCarthy, 65 Winter Street, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. A proposed construction of a 3-bedroom dwelling with 2-car garage within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. And Ron, I see you out in the audience there. You want to unmute yourself? Oh, let
Allowed
Let's
him to
let-
speak, so he should be able to unmute now. Oh, there you go.
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
yeah, we hear you, Ron. Go ahead.
Okay, my understanding is that we were ready to vote, except we didn't have a file number. for whatever reason, I had to send a second check. The first check has disappeared somewhere. It never came back. So I don't know how I get my money back from the state. Maybe I just cancel it, but we do have a file number now. And I sent it to Kelly.
Okay, yeah, let's let the record show it's SE 83-2252.
Okay, I didn't have that number in front of me, so if there are further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, no, I think we were all set. Commissioners, anybody have any final questions?
No.
If not, would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved, Ellie.
All right. Thank you, Ellie. Is there a second?
Second. Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion to issue the order of conditions carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you all.
All right. Let's see. Next order of business, another continued notice of intent can also continued from October 1st, 2020 for SE 83-2251 Paul G. Mazika, 45 Crosby Street Extension and 15 Ship Shops Way, Yarmouth, Massachusetts, an extension of an existing stone revetment on a coastal bank and riverfront area. Do we have another continuance request for this, Kelly?
We do. Apparently they have the revised plan and it will be ready for the December 3rd meeting. So they've requested a continuance to December 3rd.
To December 3rd. Okay, do I have a motion to that effect to continue to December 3rd?
So moved, Tom.
All right, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ellie, for seconding. Kelly, would you call the vote?
Chip,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Our next order of business is a continued request for an amended order of conditions. It's for SE 83-2197, Shrineth and Shaila Narahari, 5 New Hampshire Avenue, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Proposed revision to an approved plan to replace a pile foundation with the poured concrete foundation with flood compliant walls, flood vents, and enclosed storage area, garage within the buffer zone to salt marsh and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. I believe that's Dan. And I think you're ready to go, Dan, if you unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We do hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. So Dan Ojala from Down Cape Engineering. I'm also logged into Dennis, but it looks like I'll have time to do this. One of my engineers, Craig Ferrari, is here just in case I run out of time. But this should be, I think, a pretty satisfactory solution to this. You will recall this is an existing home that's quite close to the salt marsh. You gave us permission to pull it out a ways, and it was on piles, continue on piles with a skirt wall and some modest enclosures on the upper level outside of the 35. We've pulled it now at the discussion at the last meeting. I thought was a good solid offer. So I'm pleased to report that we've moved it, a full, I think at least 4.5 feet, maybe close to 5, closer to the road, because the width of the stairway that we had given it was almost 5 feet. So now you can see it's got a switch back down. We've pulled it the 5 feet further away, and you've got, as I discussed at the meeting, a lot more mitigation area. We've pulled up another 4-foot strip all the way along the edge. Other changes are, I confirmed that paved driveway was going to be removed, but in noticing that, we don't like to park out on the street. So if they had a party or whatnot, I did widen the gravel driveway a little bit so that we could pull a few more cars in off the street. But that's all outside the 50, and that's something they'd routinely allow, not a problem. So I know each site is unique, but as the one you did previously where you allowed within the 50 and even within the 35, some new space. This is a change. It's not completely out of the 35, but it's a big improvement over the site, and it's a big improvement over what was already approved. So I look forward to you guys looking this over and approving it. And either Craig or I would be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Commissioners, any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Rick?
So in the 2 weeks we've had to think about this application, I've spent a lot of time considering it. For the first time, we were able to see the elevations of the building they're proposing. And it's a significant structure, obviously. But more importantly, in my many years on the commission, I've actually lost track of how many as a commissioner and as past chairman. I believe this commission has, for many, many years, considered the 35-foot setback line sacrosanct. That I don't recall for many years we ever approving a project outside of the 35. And I'm just concerned that yes, there have been a few exceptions, but very, very few for very small infiltration into that area. And because this is a significant project, in my opinion, I have some real concerns about it now. And that's kind of a change from 2 weeks ago. But again, I have a lot more information now and had a chance to consider it because, I think Yarmouth is extremely fair in allowing a 35 where most towns require 50 and more. So it's, I'm coming back to that opinion that, this has been a sacrosanct for us in the past, and I'm certainly interested in that now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Anybody else on the commission?
I'm pleased with Rick's comments and find them well-founded.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
I have to agree with Rick's comments also. And the other issue I have is with the frost walls. They mentioned that they're going to be 4 feet high.
4 feet deep would be the answer. This is Dan from Down Cape. So they'd be 4 feet down. They wouldn't be anything exposed except about 8 inches.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yeah. But I would ask the board, just tonight you allowed infill of a deck with habitable space within the 35, an increase, a big deck over a patio within the 35, a big increase. And here we're decreasing by over 1,000 something square feet. I'm failing to find your consistency here. It's right now we've got 1,250 square foot within that 0 to 35. We're going all the way down to 300. It's a big drop, 950 square foot reduction. And, in the 50 is 1,000 square foot net reduction. It's much better than what's there now. Why get hung up when there's two applications earlier, you were approved, increasing habitable space within the 35. Here we're a big reduction and all of a sudden it's a problem.
Well, first of all, I would say that we don't compare projects because this is apples and oranges, but the fact remains the 35-foot for Wood Road was a small deck addition, and so it's not livable space in that sense. And the 135 off the coastal bank was another deck. It's essentially not livable because it can't be enclosed. So.
Well, it was, no, you had a deck and you were enclosing it into habitable space, if I heard the application right. But I don't know. Look, I would just encourage you guys, look at this huge lawn that's being pulled up. You get a ton of new mitigation. It's almost all the way out of the 35. What's not to like about this? It's a big improvement over even the one you approved a little while ago, which was nowhere near as much mitigation. It seemed to me this is a pretty easy approval. It's a big improvement over what if we withdraw, you guys get something that's worse. In my opinion, I think this is better. I mean, the only thing we could do more would be to, squish the house down but I mean, it's just such an improvement over existing conditions and such an improvement over the last proposal. I don't know why you wouldn't allow it. It seems to me to be a very reasonable proposal. And you're in a lawn area, it's not like we're cutting down a forest here. We're pulling it back, we're making it less. It's, you're getting a big buffer where there is just lawn now, and it's plus 4 foot over what you had before. I don't know. I'd take an up or down vote on it, I guess. But, if you vote it down, don't forget, you're going to get something that's, quite a bit closer to the wetland and, basically the same thing.
Dan?
Okay, thanks, Dan. I think you made your opinion.
Mr. Chairman?
So Tom, I'm gonna go to Paul first because I saw his hand up first, and then I'll go to Tom.
Thank you.
And then I want to go.
The existing, the house is planned, thank you. The house is planned, how many feet into the 35 does it go? Is it like, how far over the 35-foot line is it?
So right now, well, again, it's a reduction within the 35 of almost 1,000 square foot. So it's maybe, it's 29 feet.
Okay.
Instead of 35.
Okay. And when you say that if this is not approved, then we get something else, what is it, the something else we get, the existing house?
No, you guys have already approved this project.
Yeah.
The only change is, instead of the wooden skirting, we were going to make it, put a couple windows in it, make it look more like a house. And instead of all the piles, you'll just, we're just going to build it up with piles with a skirting around it. It's going to look just the same either way.
Yeah.
But it's about 6 or 8 feet closer to the wetland, and you lose hundreds of square foot of mitigation that we've offered here. We're now all the way up to 2466. You'd go down to, I think it was 1,500, Kelly. I don't know if you have the plan to compare.
Yeah.
But it's an approved project. They've got order conditions ready to go.
Yeah.
We just thought we'd improve it a little by, pulling it further from the wetland, adding more plants, and for that, all we're asking for is that, to solidify that skirt, and it'll still have the flood vents,
Yeah. Okay.
And we would also have, just so you say, we would also have the reduction because the addition was also going to be on piles rather than on a more significant foundation, so that we would have a reduction in that as well. So
yeah, well, I'd be
if we didn't approve it.
Yeah, but it's non-habitable space either way. It's in a flood zone, so you can't use it. You get to park a car in there or something, or pull up, throw some kayaks under it, but it's not habitable space down there.
Okay, Paul, did you have another
No,
question?
I'll be interested to hear what Kelly has to say as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go to Tom and then to David.
Yeah, Dan, would you clarify why the structure cannot be moved towards New Hampshire Avenue? What is the zoning restriction on that, if you'll refresh it for me?
Sure. So the town of Yarmouth has a 30-foot front yard setback in this area. And so the closest we can bring the structure to the street is 30 feet. And we've brought it right to that line. It's 30 foot 6 inches, but you got to have a little bit of construction tolerance because, if something leans an inch, you don't have to be ripping down a house, So we're as close as we can be, and still enjoy, the same deck that's on the house now. And again, we're moving this structure. We're not building a new one. So, if we had a complete new floor plan change, everything's different, we might be able to squeeze a long, thin house. But, it's just very hard to do on this lot. So that's the short answer to that. We've taken the footprint and we moved it as far from the wetland as we possibly can on the site, keeping the same, wraparound deck porch footprint that we have now. So we've moved it as far as we can.
Well, if you eliminated the proposed deck and brought the living structure, the house, down to the 30.5 distance from New Hampshire Avenue, you would have eliminated the need to intrude on the 35-foot zone.
Without a question, if we completely redesign this house, we could make
No,
something
no.
fit. But the deck is an integral part of the house design right now. It's a nice wraparound deck. Everything works well. It'll be going to roof dry wells. And again, it's very similar to what's there now. And what you've approved right now is just, basically sliding the house forward one set of columns and I think over one. We'd just go back to that. Much closer to the salt marsh, much less mitigation. I don't think it's a winner. I think this is a much better project. But would it be possible if we were going to rip down the whole house to redo it and get rid of the deck? Yes, it would be. But
If I
respectfully
may,
request to save what we can of the house, and that's what they're trying to do.
if I may, it looks like the deck is like 10 feet wide and they're encroaching a little over 5 feet into the 35. So I know a 5-foot deck is not really doable. Can we decrease the deck by 2 feet and get it 2 feet farther out? Would that be agreeable to the board, just to get it closer out of there? That would give them an 8-foot deck and give us 2 more feet towards the out of the 35.
Well, I mean, I don't think we should be looking for 2 feet here. I mean, to be honest with you, I'll ask the simple question of like, why don't you ask for a variance from the zoning board of appeals for the 30-foot setback?
So the reason for that is you need a financial hardship or otherwise. It puts a big, not so much a lien on the house, but it's a very significant ask. It gives all the neighbors a crack at you in terms of, any complaints they have. It forever, any modification then has to go back to the zoning board. Right now they enjoy, it was a grandfathered lot, and as of right construction, and you'd be asking them to, to forevermore, anytime they want to not so much as change a shutter, have to go back to the zoning board and apply for a modification to their relief. It would just be awkward and a bit of a hardship. And, it's my firm belief. I mean, look at all this lawn we're pulling up. We're pulling the shed out. Everything is coming out except a little sliver, but it's 1,000 square foot less than what's there now in that 35. It's almost a perfect site, and it allows them to, reuse a lot of that house. They're not tearing it down and having to buy all new components and trashing it. It's a big, savings to be able to reuse a lot of that house, not have to do a whole redesign on the deck, which is already there. So would really love to leave it. I'd appeal to the board to, take a look at the big picture, look at the last one where you approve new footprint and habitable space within the 35. This is a big reduction within the 35, not an increase like the other one was. It almost seems like it's punitive to make us, tear down the house and completely redo it and change the whole style of what they've enjoyed for years.
All right, hold on. So first of all, nobody's telling you to tear down the house and redo it. That's number one.
I mean,
Number two,
right now
to go back to my question, to go back to my original question, is like, you said you won't go to ZBA because ZBA essentially holds the line on the 30 foot, and if ZBA gives a 30 foot on this property, then they might have to give 30 foot on another property. So my question is, why do I have to?
I respectfully, I didn't say that. I just said it's a big lien on the property to have to go to the zoning board and, prove a financial hardship and have them have a decision recorded against the land. And then any other change has to go back to the zoning board. It's a big deal. If somebody buys a property and there's a variance on it, it's going to hurt the value. And where it's just a net improvement. And I mean, I don't know if, Kelly, you can bring up the approved plan. If you let me share my plan, my screen, I could pull it up. But, looking at it, I think this is a nice improvement over what we already have a permit to build tomorrow. And
I think, you've stated the facts, and I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why people constantly come to Conservation Commission expecting them to give up on their setbacks and always grant variances for their setbacks, and yet nobody even ever thinks about going before zoning board of appeals to ask for a setback, because zoning board doesn't give them up that easily. In fact, I don't know of any time when ZBA gives them up. So
well, you have to, and that's to your point, that you have to prove a hardship, financial and otherwise. And if we get a wink on it, which this would be a wink variance, we don't really need it. It's just to, be a little bit less restrictive to conservation. Boom, any of the neighbors could appeal that, tie us up in court for years. And they're very easy to appeal, variances are. So, they don't ever hold up because it would be you guys lose me?
No,
Lost another Zoom I was sitting on. But in any event, zoning board is a different animal and it's a whole different set of circumstances. And they will just say, well, why not just put a new house on there that fits, leave us alone. And, here, all we're doing is moving the house forward as far as we can to meet the town's code so that, nobody is injured by having a short yard setback. It's a big improvement over the distance to the salt marsh. It's a big improvement in terms of lack of lawn. Pervious driveway is called out, getting rid of the paved driveway. And it's a net, I think, for the environment, a nice win. And I just wish we could find our way to allowing it. It seems to me to be quite reasonable.
Okay, I'm going to go to David.
okay, I have a number of questions, Dan, so bear with me. I wasn't part of the membership when they approved the original plan. So the way I understand the original plan was closer to the wetland or about where it is now?
So the plan, which is currently, you've issued an order of conditions on, is significantly closer to the wetland than this. Yet it's an identical footprint, except for like the stair change that we made.
Okay, and secondly, I'm looking at the picture of the front southeast of elevation and the right northeast. Right now, they're just there's nothing there, obviously. And how does that work in case of flooding? Do those windows and doors work?
Sure. So it's not entirely well shown because of the scale of the plan, but a smart vent is roughly the size of a cinder block. It'd be like 12 by 8. And there would be one of those for every 200 to 250 square foot of living space. So say 8 to 10 of them sprinkled around the outside. And so they just look like cellar windows, the little smaller than that, but about 8 or 10 of those around the outside. There might be a couple in the garage door. They make 2 packs of them, 4 packs, but they'll just be sprinkled around the outside within a foot of grade. And if the flood levels do come, there's a little float inside. The whole thing opens up and the water is just allowed to rush right in. It equalizes, water seeks its own level. And then as the floodwaters recede, the water pours right back out. And so no harm, no foul. So that's it'll look like just some cinder block style, nice, attractive stainless vents around the perimeter.
Okay, maybe I'm not getting this, but so if there was a flood, hurricane flood, which I live in the area, so I know what that place looks like when we had the last hurricane come up the coast. Those windows would open. They would. I mean, the water would be up above the windowsill, wouldn't it? And certainly above the garage doors and the door that's there on the right northeast side.
The design flood elevation is quite high and the ground is quite low. So yes, and right now it's on like open piles, even though it didn't really need to be. But so it'd be, again, from the water's perspective, from that point of view, it would simply be the water would tip those vents in and it would rush in through the 8 or 10 vents, fill up. And I watched one of those big tidal floods up on the north side. The flood vents work very well. And then the water recedes back down, it rushes right back out. And so it equalizes the pressure on the 2 sides of the wall. It's all water resistant construction, hardy board, pressure treated wood, just stuff that can get wet and not be hurt at all. And that's below the flood elevation. Okay. So the existing proposal, if you look at it, has wooden slats and wood piles. The water would simply go through those, rise up and flood out and right back out. Here, be almost identical procedure, only it would be going through a great number of these smart vents around the perimeter.
And you don't have a view of the back. What does the back look like? Is the back all open? How does this continue?
Front,
okay. All right. Okay. lastly, I keep going back and forth on this, and this is why I'm asking these questions, but if you were able to move up the house a little bit more, you mentioned the neighbors. Well, all the neighbors don't have 35 feet there. Neighbors, I don't know what side that would be, but neighbors to, if you look at the house, neighbors to the left and going down that street down New Hampshire, I don't think, maybe one is 35 feet, but the rest are much closer to the road. Does that make any difference when you go to zoning? If you went to the zoning?
It
that's really
sometimes
something.
does. There is a rule in Yarmouth where you can average your abutters setbacks. One that's set back more is the equivalent of 35. So it's a fair point. If they're legal and they're direct abutters, we might be able to use that to nudge a little bit more distance out of it. That's an interesting thought. The setback is 35, but to the best of my knowledge, Yarmouth does have an exception to that rule. I'd have to double check on it, but I hadn't really even thought of that. So I could certainly investigate that.
Thank you. I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tom, I forgot to ask if you were completely, if you were finished with
sir,
your,
all finished.
you're all set. And Ellie, you're the same, or
Yeah, I'm all set.
anybody else in the commission? All right, Kelly, any questions, comments?
I guess my only comment is that I do see this proposal as being certainly a huge improvement over what's there at the moment. And I do see it as being an improvement over what's currently approved for this property. The only thing that I would ask is that the line of vegetation that's being proposed in this area would be placed immediately along the back of the property, because I think the main concern in terms of impacts are the reflection of wave energy off the back of the house and any impacts on the salt marsh behind the house. And so by vegetating more of that 35-foot buffer, I think that negates that issue. The kind of idea of having the 35-foot setback is because it's a vegetated area which provides buffer. And so if we can vegetate that buffer area as much as possible, then it is serving that function. So I understand that this project is not a raise and replace. Usually if the raise and replace, then the applicant is under more scrutiny in terms of being able to meet the current regulations. But this is an existing dwelling that is just being relocated, and I understand the foundation is being changed, which is why I think the mitigation is important. But I tend to support the project as it's presented with that change in the mitigation plantings to make them more substantial behind the house. The only other comment I had was that I think it would be important this wasn't immediately clear from the plans that I saw, that the deck area should not be enclosed in any way, because that will create greater area for the water to pass through unimpeded. So just wanted to confirm that was the case. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just add in through the chair that I think that's not an unreasonable ask. We could certainly take the additional mitigation plantings and put them to beef up that 35 behind the house. I just ask for perhaps maybe 6 feet to walk around the house, just to maintain it and so forth. But everything else back there, we could move mitigation back there. I think that'd be a positive thing. I would tend to agree.
Okay, how does the commission feel?
David, I agree with Kelly. I see this as a big improvement, and you are further away from the wetland, even though you're still within the 35 feet. And I understand what Rick was saying, but in this particular case, I think it's a big improvement.
Paul, I agree. I agree with David and with Kelly.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see them investigate their opportunity with the zoning for a consideration of a variance. I think that David's points were very interesting to me, that there are a number of homes there that are much closer than the existing zoning bylaw. So as you said before, it's interesting that applicants come to us often and without trying all opportunities to solve a problem, they ask us to solve them for them. And I'd be very comfortable with that.
Okay, so would you like to see a continuance then to pursue that, or?
I would, yes.
I agree.
Dan, I don't know. I mean, I would like to, personally, I would say I'd like to consider what the rest of the board was saying at this point and the points that Kelly made. I can't guarantee you that it would change my mind 100%, but I'd at least be willing to give it 2 weeks to consider it, and you know, while I'm doing that, I would hope that perhaps you could look into some issues with the Board of Appeals as well, and we may be able to come to some sort of a pleasant compromise that way.
Yeah, I agree. You know, looking at it, we may be able to get a couple, 3 feet out of that special rule that they have on that front yard setback, and that would probably get almost everything out of the 35 and not go to the zoning. So maybe that'd be the sweet spot. So I'll certainly investigate that very quickly and get a revised plan right in. And if it's a matter of that doesn't pan out, we'll do the best we can with the mitigation. And then, you know, but I'd really hope not to go to the zoning board. It's a months of delay and time and expense, and puts a big burden on the property, as I explained. But certainly that rule about averaging front yard setbacks might bear some fruit here. And I apologize for not having thought of that. It's a great, we'd often wouldn't even think of that, but in this case, that's brought to my attention, and it might work out.
Okay, so we're looking then for a continue. Do you want 2 weeks or do you want a month?
2 weeks is fine, and if we need more, I'll request it well prior to the meeting. So 2 weeks I think is good.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that has any comments, questions about this project? If not, then could I have a motion to continue this to December 3rd?
So moved, David.
All right, thank you, David. There's a second?
Second, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Hoops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously to continue to December 3rd.
All right, great. Thank you, folks, for your careful consideration. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Let's see, next order of business is a request for extension of order of conditions for SE 83-2115 Joseph G. O'Reilly, 5 Webster Street, Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Request 3-year extension to order of conditions. I think we might have some questions about this one, Kelly.
Yeah, and I don't see, maybe Ron is going to represent him. I don't see anyone in the audience. I don't see the property owner in the audience, but Ron is there, and he presented the original permit plan. But basically, I received a request from the property owner to extend the order for 3 years. I'm just going to move the slides on. I think the only item that's outstanding is the mitigation plantings along the top of the coastal bank. I tend to think that maybe 3 years is too long for that. I think maybe we could allow them to get those plants in the spring and then close the order out soon after that. And then there could be an ongoing condition for the maintenance of those plants to meet the condition in the order.
Okay, so you're looking for what, like June 1st?
June 1st.
An extension to June 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. If it's only the mitigation planting, it seems to me as though that would be more than enough time to get those planted next spring, and we can close everything out then. Any other questions or comments from the commission?
How long should we leave it for the monitoring?
The monitoring would be included in the certificate of compliance when they request that. And the monitoring was the 2 years after the plants go in the ground. So,
Okay.
but usually the certificate of compliance would have a condition that that area needs to maintain as a vegetated buffer. So that would be pretty much in perpetuity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, unless there's any further discussion amongst the commission, is there anybody in the audience that Ron, you're not talking about this one?
He has his hand raised. I think you can go ahead and unmute yourself. You go.
Yeah, I wasn't aware this was coming up, but he is my next door neighbor and he's a nice guy. I think he just needed more time to get the plantings in. He was having trouble deciding what to put in. Is there any way you could just give him another year instead of the 3 years?
I think he can make the decision. He's probably got what, 2 or 3 months to make a decision on what he wants to plant, and then another 3 months to carry it out. Then I don't see any reason why we should go any further than the June 1st.
Okay.
I mean, anything else, Ron?
That's all.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion
So moved, Ellie.
for June 1st, 2021 extension?
Yes, June 1st, sorry, June 1st, 21.
All right. Is there a second?
Second, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Let's see. So next order of business, certificate of compliance for SE 83-1650820 Gulls Cove Road, Yarmouth. Apparently everything is done here. Kelly, everything is good, ready to issue?
Yes, that's correct. The work never took place, so
Okay.
it's an invalid order of conditions. The only issue is that there is an encroachment on the town property from this property. The area has been cleared onto the conservation parcel, which is being maintained as a lawn area. So I would suggest that we would deal with that separately as a cease and desist from any cutting in that area, then it'd be allowed to regrow naturally.
Okay, so you're good then with issuing the COC and issuing a cease and desist. You'll do that next week then, right? Or next time? Or you're just going to do it this week?
I'll just issue it as
Okay,
a cease and desist. The property owner is in the audience if you wanted to.
Okay, would the property owner like to say anything, or?
No, that's fine. The area that was cut has always been cut. Never had any clue that it shouldn't have been. The property is selling, so we will just have to convey this to the new owners that there's an area there that needs to be naturally grown back.
Okay. Kelly, could we actually, I'm trying to think if we could put that onto the COC, just make it an ongoing condition of the certificate.
Yeah, that could be included as an ongoing condition.
Yeah, why don't we do it? Why don't we issue the COC that way? And I would also send the letter just to make it official.
Yeah.
All right, is there any further discussion? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
So moved, Ellie.
All right, thank you, Ellie.
Second, David.
Thank you, David. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Bishop,
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Bernstein,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Oops,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, Kelly. All right, next order of business is an approval of the minutes from November 5th, 2020.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 5th, 2020 as written, and also to reiterate the fact that the Conservation Commission is blessed in the fact that we now have two masters of the minutes. We have Ellie, and whoever else wrote these did an outstanding job.
Very, very good and well noted, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Would somebody like to second that motion?
Be honored to second that one.
All right, thank you, Rick. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Oops.
Aye.
Durkin,
Aye.
Mulhern,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Bishop,
Aye.
Huggins,
Aye.
Bernstein.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, everybody. Any other business not reasonably anticipated at this point?
Yeah, I just have, Ed,
All right, Paul?
I just want to ask Kelly if she, I don't know if it needs to be in the meeting, but does the Conservation Commission have access to any signs, like no dumping signs? I've noticed some of that kind of activity over at the Carolyn Thatcher Pereira area up near where I live on the north side. And like know if some signs are available, I'd be happy to put them up or whatever the procedures for doing that.
Yeah, we have some at the Natural Resources Department, so I can ask them about getting them installed on the site, or if you'd like to install them, I could look at getting those to you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It's just the people. I think landscapers dump some debris in there and that type of thing. And
How many do you think you need?
maybe about 3 or 4.
Okay, I will look into that and let you know.
Yeah, if somebody wants to contact me and I can go pick them up or whatever the procedure is, if they'd rather do it, that's okay too.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Anybody else? Looking like a big no. Everybody wants to go on to dinner here quickly. So what I would like to do then, we're still good on for executive session, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
All right, so if I could have a motion to adjourn from the regular meeting noted at 6:44 p.m. and to enter directly into an executive session and not to return to the normal or to the regular session. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Is there a second? Tom, thank you. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Oops.
Aye.
Durkin.
Aye.
Mulhern.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
Bishop.
Aye.
Huggins.
Aye.
Bernstein.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. So I'm just going to